Some of you may have seen the terrible debate performance between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, in that Donald Trump was doing his usual lies and his slurs and his slander, and you have Joe Biden disintegrate before our very eyes. And unfortunately, the establishment doesn't care.
We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
So, as you can see, Democrats are still having, Joe Biden as their man. They've not had any kind of serious discussions about pulling Joe Biden out of the race, because, of course, if he were to continue on, where 70% plus of people agree that he is mentally or cognitively impaired, obviously he's going to lose. He's going to lose the election with Donald Trump. And say what you will about Donald Trump, he's still got it. He's still sharp. And the establishment doesn't care, because the establishment doesn't take sides between parties. It only takes sides for those who accept their donor money. And when I'm talking about the establishment, I'm talking about corporations. I'm talking about those holders of wealth. They fund both parties. And so they don't really care. Neither do the politicians either. The politicians will lie to you, they'll gaslight you, they'll talk to you about the Republicans being the worst of the worst. But they don't really care. They care more about protecting their bottom line, their paychecks. And a lot of them have already been funded to a significant degree that a lot of them could retire. They don't have any meaningful values for the most part. Vast majority don't have meaningful values that would, have them really care about winning against the Republican Party, because they don't really differ from the Republican Party. They differ from the progressive left. They differ from the anti-genocidal left. They differ from the redistributive pro-green agenda left. And they may differ from the extreme far right. But the extreme far right don't really have much power, fortunately. And they may care about these different things, but they don't really particularly care about the right-wing mainstream party, because, after all, they don't really have any firm convictions. The centrist parties, which are both Democrat and Republican, but they're both basically centrist, centre-right parties, with Republican being right-wing. And this is reflected in UK politics too. You have the Labour Party, which is centre-right, now leaning towards right-wing now, and you've got the Conservative Party, which is right-wing. And they're both funded by large-scale corporations. If they weren't, in the form of, let's say, a party led by Jeremy Corbyn or Bernie Sanders, where a large proportion of their money would come from everyday donors, people like you and I, then the media would obviously inflict such a PR disaster on these parties that obviously it would be very difficult for them to sustain a level of approval in a public sphere, because the media controls perception, controls how, or rather, it manages and manufactures consent, because vast majority of people aren't really, they don't care a lot about the ins and outs of politics. They just want to get on with their day. And so all the media needs to do is frame a conversation, lie by omission, and create a picture in people's mind in how they perceive a certain party. They do it by smearing. They do it by just association. And so the establishment doesn't care if Joe Biden falls apart, because if the Democrats truly cared about winning, they would replace him. They would replace him with a better candidate, somebody who, or rather, somebody who thinks like he does but has a functioning brain. And I wish I was hyperbolic here. I wish I was joking. But that's quite literally the case. He's falling apart. And the establishment doesn't care about Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer has one of the lowest approval ratings of any leader of the opposition. 49% do not trust Keir Starmer. And for those that don't know, Keir Starmer is a leader of the Labour Party, which is in opposition to the Conservative Party, which are currently in power. But it's in a couple of days, several days, 4th of July, Labour are going to be in power, just based on polls for the last couple of years. It's very obvious Labour are going to win. So vote Green if you're in the UK. Vote other than Labour or Tory party, because Labour are destined to win. What we need is Labour to cede some of that power to a progressive party. But Keir Starmer doesn't care if the Tories are in power. He does. They have the same friendship circles. You can see pictures of Jess Phillips with Jacob Rees-Mogg, you know, chin wagging like good friends. You can see these centrist celebrities, having good time with George W. Bush Jr. And they don't really care because their class identity is the same. They care about maintaining the status quo as normal. And for the most part, the centrist, center right, the right wing parties, they all are complicit in this genocide for the most part. Because morality and value system isn't their core principle. It's not driving factor. Their driving factor is power. And their driving factor is money. And unfortunately, none of them truly care about the other side winning, because they've already gotten their paycheck and they can make a nice bit of lucrative career if they do run out of the race. They can sell books, they can enter into consultancy firms, they can charge thousands for speeches and lectures. So they don't care about you and I. And so things have to change. I'll do more on this and also report on the election in the UK, where we will see results within a week. And of course, the US is disintegrating as we see a criminal, very likely, by the name of Donald Trump win, unless something very unexpected happens. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be setting up a podcast very soon, or uploading these to a podcast, and also do in the long term, hopefully starting before the end of summer, start doing some interviews, perhaps on the street interviews. But let's see. This is a long-term project. I'm going to be doing interviews anyway. But hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment what you want me to talk about, or have any queries. But have a good day.